The prophecy is over. So the prophecy of the Undisputed Era is over. I guess I should say good riddance, because I really wasn't a fan of the prophecy of the Undisputed Era holding all the gold. So, anyway, welcome to your NXT review. I know I didn't do last week because I didn't tune into last week. I tuned into this week's, and I'm gonna tell you guys, it was definitely a lot better than the last time I watched it, definitely. So, I guess that's all. That's really I can say. I can actually tell you guys that I'm actually okay with what happened today. But then again, as I told you guys before, this is all my opinion. So please don't get offended if there's something that you don't like me saying. It's all my opinion. So we had the Grizzly Young Veterans defeat the Undisputed Era. Now, me personally, I'm happy with this because, in my personal opinion, the Undisputed Era really shouldn't even been in the Dusty Rhodes Classic. In my opinion, they really shouldn't have been in it. I mean, if you're gonna make the Dusty Rhodes Classic, the Dusty Rhodes Classic should be all about creating a new tag teams on the rise, and the winner should challenge for the championship. That's what I feel like the Dusty Rhodes Classic should be all about. Not having your champions in there. But the fact that your champions are in there basically tells me you don't have a lot of teams. Even though the card was pretty stacked. So we had Toni Storm taking on Io Shirai. With all due respect, but why are you giving away Toni Storm versus Io Shirai for free on TV? Okay? People complain about the main roster doing that, a lot more. And I guess NXT, gets a pass because they do it on they don't do it as often as Monday Night Raw or as SmackDown. I guess. But I don't really care if they do it on a regular basis, or if it's a one-off, or if it's a rarity. If it's a takeover-worthy or pay-per-view-worthy match, I personally feel that you should not have it until a pay-per-view. Toni Storm versus Io Shirai, the last time we saw these two was at Evolution in the Mae Young Classic final. And the match ends by disqualification. Now, obviously, this makes sense. If you're going to think of it logically, you really shouldn't pin Toni, or you really shouldn't pin Io, so we'll just have a DQ finish. Honestly, I'm going to tell you guys, if this was on the main roster, I know the fans would have rioted, and they would have gotten mad that a match like this would have ended by DQ. But again, as I said, I guess because NXT rarely do it, they can get a pass. But still, I feel like if you're going to have a match, look, Io Shirai is really not doing anything. So Io Shirai really isn't involved in a feud, so why do you have to protect her from being pinned? You want to make Toni Storm look good heading into her match with Rhea Ripley, so why not have Io Shirai lose the match clean? I'm not a big fan of DQ finishes or count-out finishes. I mean, it's okay to do them if it's necessary. I feel like you should only do them if it's necessary. Was it necessary for Toni Storm versus Io Shirai? I have to say no. I have to say no, it wasn't necessary. This DQ win did nothing. Having the match end by DQ does nothing. It doesn't benefit Io, and it doesn't really benefit Tony at all. I felt like it would have made more sense if you had Tony beat Io again clean for a second time. Because then Tony would look dominant heading into her big title match with Rhea Ripley. But hey, I guess NXT know what they're doing, I guess. So, Shayna Baszler mentioned backstage that she's not going anywhere, that she's staying in NXT. Well, good riddance. I hope you stay in NXT, because I don't want you anywhere near the Royal Rumble, and I don't want you anywhere near the main roster, and I don't want you anywhere near the Royal Rumble match. So please, do us a favor and stay there forever. Be like Tommaso Ciampa and refuse a call-up. Actually, no, that's Johnny Gargano. Be a lot like Johnny Gargano and refuse your call-up. Please. I don't want to see you anywhere near the main roster, Shayna Baszler. We have Finn Balor versus this guy that I saw last time I watched. Juquin Wyatt. I'm not sure how you say this guy's name, or his first name at least. Finn Balor beats him. I guess you got to give Finn Balor an easy opponent. You make him look strong heading into his match at Worlds Collide, but you didn't do that with Tony? Oh well, I guess. Speaking of Shayna Baszler, she competes against the woman that eliminated her in the Battle Royal last week. Yes, I know I didn't watch NXT, but I did see what happened. Shotzi Blackheart did the unthinkable and eliminated Shayna Baszler from the Women's Battle Royal, which Bianca Belair ended up winning. So Shayna Baszler is obviously out for revenge. And Shayna Baszler obviously gets the win here. Listen, Shayna Baszler's garbage. I don't care what anyone tells me. She's shit. She's not that good. She's not as good as people says she is. She's slow. She's boring. She's just like Ronda. She's just a carbon copy of Ronda Rousey. That's all she is. Just not a big fan of her. She's not as good as people says she is. So then we have the Broserweights. Pete Dunne and Matt Riddle. God, I don't like these guys. Especially Matt Riddle. Matt Riddle I can't stand. Pete Dunne, I don't know what WWE sees in Pete Dunne, honestly. Pete Dunne, you know, he was the UK champion for nearly 2 years. And he rarely ever defended it. Brock Lesnar level, like Brock Lesnar level. That was Pete Dunne's title reign. He was basically Brock Lesnar. Rarely ever defended it. So, Matt Riddle, again, just like Shayna Baszler, he's boring. I don't really like him. Because he's just not that good. Just not a big fan of him. Hate his gimmick. Bro. Yeah, I hate his damn gimmick. He is a lot like Bayley to me. He's at Bayley level to me. When I saw Bayley, I didn't like Bayley's gimmick. She's a good wrestler. Bayley's a good wrestler, but I hated her gimmick. But Matt Riddle, on the other hand, I don't think he's a good wrestler, and I don't like his gimmick. Matt Riddle is just shit. He talks all this garbage. He talks a lot of shit about Goldberg not being a good wrestler. Well, I'd say Goldberg is possibly more of a better wrestler than you. Bro. Pete Dunne to me, I just don't like Pete Dunne. I used to like Pete Dunne. I thought there was something good in him. When I first saw him, I thought, you know, maybe he'd be a good breakout star. But soon as I saw his NXT United Kingdom championship run, I was like, I really fell off this guy. I really fell off because I was like, how is this guy, like I mentioned before, he rarely ever defended it. He rarely ever defended it. But people called him a good champion somehow. I don't know. Very weird. Very, very weird. I'm telling you that. That's very weird. So the Broserweights win this match. They beat Imperium. A random... Oh my god, I don't get it. Pete Dunne and Matt Riddle are a random team. They're just two people that you picked out of a hat to be a tag team. And for a second year in a row, a random team, a team that is not even a real team, are in the finals. This is Aleister Black and Ricochet all over again. Aleister Black and Ricochet were a random team, and then what happened? They went to the main roster as a tag team, and everybody didn't like it. Because people were saying they're better off on their own. And honestly, I do agree that that is correct. Aleister and Ricochet are definitely better on their own. But the problem was, you enjoyed it in NXT, but then WWE were going to bring it to the main roster, and that's when you had an issue with it. Don't know. It's just weird to me. But yeah, Matt Riddle and Pete Dunne, random team. They've never been a team from the very beginning. They'll just put together in this Dusty Classic, and they're basically going to pull an Aleister Black and Ricochet and win the Dusty Classic and become tag team champions. Has there been an actual tag team that has won the Dusty Classic? I think the only legitimate tag teams, the first teams that won the Dusty Classic was a random team of Finn Balor and Samoa Joe. I think the only teams that are actually a tag team that has won the Dusty Classic are the AOP and the Undisputed Era. The two regular tag teams have only won the Dusty Classic, but Finn and Joe, Black and Ricochet, and now possibly Pete Dunne and Matt Riddle. 3 random tag teams. Well, right now it's 2. Pete Dunne and Matt Riddle may win next week. The Broserweights are just not a real team. What's next? Are they going to become a real team when they win this whole tournament? And then they challenge for the tag team titles? And everyone's like, yeah, they're a real team now. Gee, can't wait. Can't wait. And our main event was Keith Lee and Roderick Strong for the North American Championship. Undisputed Era being the typical stables, interfering in the match, which that's nothing new. We see this all the time. Doesn't matter if it's NXT, main roster, NXT UK, 205, AEW, New Japan, Ring of Honor, Impact Wrestling. It doesn't matter. We see it all the time. Nothing's different here when it comes to a tag team or a stable, well, mostly stables, trying to help out their stablemates. Nothing's different there. But in the end of it all, Keith Lee became the new NXT North American Champion. Finally, the prophecy is over. We can now say the prophecy is over. Did I ever like the prophecy? Not really. I felt like it was just really silly just to have all these the entire Undisputed Era to hold championships, just to make a point that these guys are a dominant faction. Great. They've proven they're a dominant faction now. They don't need titles now. Hopefully, they all drop their titles. Hopefully, they all drop their titles soon. And then they can move on up to the MR, the main roster. But I'm pretty sure there's a lot of names they're considering already for the main roster. Probably like Shayna Baszler, probably Io Shirai. I wouldn't mind Toni Storm. Called up to the main roster, honestly, because I heard that she said she wants to wrestle Sasha Banks, Becky Lynch, Natalya, Alexa Bliss. You know, I heard there's a couple of names she wants to wrestle, so maybe she's teasing. Who knows, but yeah, that's your NXT, guys. That is your NXT review. Like I said, I thought NXT was a lot better this week. I will definitely give it a thumbs up. It was definitely a lot better. Still hasn't blown me away like everybody says it has, but it's good. It was good this week. It was definitely definitely good this week. I am definitely looking forward to next week to see how the Undisputed Era react to losing a championship, and yeah, see what happens next week. Hit that thumbs up if you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you all next time.